And welcome to Jumpstart Monday. We are very happy to be with you, and we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So if you're here with us, please let us know in the comments. Please say good morning. We will be happy to hear from you. So today's topic is fostering collaboration. And before explaining this topic, I want you to make a mental image in your head. Have you ever been a part of a team where things were flowing smoothly, when the climate was positive, when the people were discussing with each other, where the goals were reached? So this is probably due to effective collaboration. On the other hand, have you been part of a team where it was exactly the opposite? Well, in this episode, we are offering you 6 tips that will help you as a manager foster collaboration, foster a positive climate in your team. And if you're not a manager and you're a team member, we believe that these tips are also relevant for you. So, Michael, I pass the microphone to you to tell us the first tips.
Excellent. Thank you, Sophia, for this lovely introduction. Tip number one is the obvious: set clear goals. If you're driving from Limassol to Nicosia, most probably you know the destination. Even if it's in the evening and you switch on your lights, you turn on your lights, and you can see only 10 meters in front of you, you know how to get there, and you'll probably get there. The same holds true, because I'm a football fan, the same holds true for teams, for example, in the Premiership. Liverpool and Manchester City, they know exactly what their goals are: to win the championship. And all those players work towards that direction. My team, Leeds United, its goal is to avoid relegation. So the players need to act in a slightly different way. So the first thing, Sophia, is the obvious: set clear goals for your team, and that will help towards collaboration and communication, of course. Second tip is acknowledge each individual. You know, Nelson Mandela's father was a tribal leader. And what I loved about him when I was reading Nelson Mandela's biography was that he would sit around the fireplace and he would let each and every member of his tribe speak before he spoke. He spoke last. And even though he knew exactly what he wanted, he was a determined leader and a capable one. He let everyone speak. First and foremost, because if he spoke first, he would have shut down a lot of people who had a diverse opinion or a different opinion. And secondly, he could have changed his mind by listening to someone who said something that resonated with him and made sense. So if you are a tribal leader of a modern business unit, let your people speak first in meetings. This will enhance both communication and collaboration. Which takes us to the third point, which follows the second one, which is foster psychological safety and trust. Help your people, make your people comfortable to speak up. I was watching a documentary last evening, Sophia, about Boeing and how those two planes in 2018 and 2019, 5 months in between, have come down and they killed a lot of people. This was because Boeing merged with another company that had different values with them. At the beginning, Boeing had great values, and one of their values, their number one value, was safety before everything else. And everyone could speak up, irrespective of position, and tell the management that they disagreed with what was happening, even to the detriment and in delaying a plane being delivered to an airline and losing money in the process, because safety was their number one priority. Fostering psychological safety, not shooting the messenger for telling you something you don't like, should be key if you want to deliver teams that collaborate well together. Sophia, over to you for the next 3 tips.
Excellent, Michael. Thank you very much. These are the 3 essential ingredients of collaboration. And let me build on what you said and offer 3 more tips. And the fourth tip is manage conflict. Just like the weather, it cannot always be sunny. It cannot always be smooth in teams. Conflict is inevitable, just like a storm. So the role of a leader is to help team make these storms shorter, make this conflict shorter. Storms are essential. They help us to discuss things. They help us to put things on the table, or as my professor at IMD said, put the fish on the table. So at these times, we need the leader to take over, to look at the goals again, to take in consideration the opinions of each of the persons, to take into consideration the climate, to create a climate of trust and resolve the conflict quickly. If the conflict is not resolved and discussed quickly, then it festers, and it creates more problems in the team. And one of the most common sources of conflict is that the duties and the tasks are not distributed, uh, let's say, fairly or adequately. So we have people in the team that might take over a bigger chunk of the work, and we have people in the team that they slack, they leave behind, and people are taking over from them. So in this situation, there is a climate of unfairness. The people who work more, they feel unfair. So make sure as a team leader that the tasks are distributed equally. And then finally, hold your team members accountable. If someone is not delivering, they should be called out. One example I have from my workplace, a situation where the team was not held accountable, and I will explain. So my team was asked to help another team to do some filing in the basement. Now, my team was not responsible or accountable for that, but our manager told us, whenever you have some free time, go and help them. So what we did was exactly that. Whenever we had some free time, we were going to help them. It was not our priority, it was not part of our goals. And the result was we didn't actually help them that much, and their task was not progressing. So the next week, the manager came and he said, you know what? I want you on Tuesdays and Wednesdays to go down to the basement and help these people. Well, guess what? We were accountable for going on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and the task was done.
Excellent.
So these are my tips for today. Yeah, you can see, Michael, the role of the leader is crucial in fostering collaboration. I believe that this is the most critical role of a leader, actually, in a team. What do you think?
Very true. And there are more tips, but we try to keep it short and sweet so people can get on with their work. That's why we call it Jumpstart Monday. Let me recap, Sophia, and what we said. Number one, set clear goals. We talked about the Premiership. Liverpool and Manchester City know they have to win the championship to be successful. My team, Leeds United, needs to avoid relegation. Set clear goals that are smart, that are measurable, and people know exactly what they're working towards. Tip number two is acknowledge each individual, like Nelson Mandela's father used to do. He used to, as a tribal leader, he used to let everyone else speak first so he wouldn't discourage them by offering his opinion and turning them off or turning them down. Number three, foster psychological safety and trust. Never shoot the messenger, allow them to speak up. Boeing failed to do that in 2018, 2019 because of the MCAS, and you can watch the documentary to find out what MCAS was all about. And two planes came down. In the old days, Boeing fostered psychological safety. People could speak up, and in this case, they had almost zero accidents. Number four, as Sophia wisely told us from her experience also working for bigger companies, you have to manage conflict. Conflict is inevitable. It happens in our household, it happens in our office. And as a leader, you should be able to handle conflict by being honest, by being direct, by being a true leader and getting your team out of the dead end and being honest with your people and telling them what they need to do and or maybe who was at fault at certain times. Not in front of everyone, but take them one-on-one and explain. Number five, distribute responsibilities adequately. Everyone should have a load on their back, but make sure that one or two people don't have more than the others. It's only fair that it's distributed adequately, as Sophia has told us. And last but not least, let your people know which days they should go down to the basement and help their colleagues, as Sophia told us, Tuesday and Wednesday in this case. So let's look at the chat and see who's here. Stephanie Pilavagi, first, you were first. Good morning and have a productive week. Same to you, my dear friend. Quincy, you talk about fostering psychological safety. Yes, we do. And he wants to explain more on that. I believe we already said it. We recapped it now on psychological safety. But Sophia, I believe we have a nice, it wasn't ours, but we talked about it in one of our masterminds. We have a nice picture saying how you encourage psychological safety within the team. Can you make sure that we send this picture to, because it's self-explanatory, it was by an Italian lady, I think, who came up with it. How to foster psychological safety in your team. Can we send it to Quincy and anyone who wants
Yes,
it?
yes, of course. Professor Amy Edmondson from Harvard is a person who talked about psychological safety very much. And yes, we will put it in the comments, but the
But
basic
it wasn't
idea,
Amy's. It wasn't Amy's. The photo we have about
it was
psychological safety.
someone summarizing what
Yes,
Amy wrote.
yes, yes.
Yes, so I will put it in the chat. But the idea is that people feel safe to talk. People feel safe to make mistakes as well. If someone makes mistakes, they feel safe to admit it and say, look, I was wrong here. And how do you do that? It's a whole chapter. We will put it in the comments with tips how to do that.
We should do this. Dimitris, good morning, my friend. Hope you're doing well. And everyone who's listening in, feel free to share this episode if it made sense to you, if you think we can help someone else. And just have in mind that from next Monday, you're more than welcome to come up live. Sophia will share a link for anyone who wants to ask their question live, not only through Messenger. So feel free to do that. Thank you very much. And thank you, Sophia, also. And have a productive week ahead, dear friends. All the best to all of you.